Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Senator Liu for bringing forth this resolution. You know, it seems like lately a lot of these resolutions has something to do with me, and I kind of feel like Forrest Gump. So let's talk about the Chinese laborer in the Transcontinental Railroad. They're called coolie laborers. And the word coolie in Chinese practically means like shanghaied, hijacked, kidnapped. It's also known in China as selling the piggy. And coincidentally, it's very meaningful to us in my district because a lot of folks up here are from my district. And especially to me too, because I am a direct descendant of one of these coolie laborers. My great-grandfather was here in America building the railroads. Tell you a little story. Most of the coolie laborers came from a province in China, a region called Taishan. That's where a lot of my constituents are from, Taishan, and that's where my ancestors are from, Taishan. So a lot of us are descendants of these Taishanese people, and Taishan was the #1 feeder region of coolie laborers to the United States in the 1800s. Some of my distant cousins still live in Idaho and California today, as well as Wyoming. When people talk about coolie laborers and the railroads, they often think of California, they think about the gold rush. Nobody ever talks about the Union Pacific in Wyoming, Council Bluffs. But today I want to tell a little story about a place in wild Wyoming territory called Rock Springs. On September 2nd, 1885, happened the Rock Springs Chinese Massacre, where angry white men, Finnish to be exact, from Finland, took up their Winchester repeating rifles and they slaughtered Chinese people. 28 of them confirmed. It could have been as many as 50, 100, we'll never know, because they were burned, they were dismembered, they were hung, they were mutilated. So we're never going to know that number. The Chinese was chased out of Rock Springs. Why? Because they thought, the Finnish people thought, that the Chinese people were there to steal their jobs. And that is what happened. And Chinese people ran. They ran to Evanston, Wyoming. And the federal government had to send in troops to escort them back to Rock Springs in the subsequent weeks. And when they returned to Rock Springs, they discovered that their livelihoods, their houses, their homes, their possessions, everything had been plundered. So there was no choice but to leave Rock Springs. And that was just one little story in the history of coolie laborers in America. The hardships that we faced as a community was endless. My great-grandfather, coincidentally, around that time, went back to China. And the Chinese that remained and the Chinese that came after that contributed greatly and became a very important community that helped drive America forward. The Transcontinental Railroad was completed, as we know. Today is the anniversary. And America rocket-sled it into a new era of growth and prosperity like never seen before. And we have to thank, among others, the coolie laborers. So after my grandfather went back to China, my family did not re-immigrate to the United States again until the year 1969, partially because of the Chinese Exclusion Act that was overturned in 1943, I believe. In 1969, and it was because of a white man in Binghamton, an executive for the Singer Sewing Machine Company, that brought my uncle over. And that's another story for another time. It's history like this that no one talks about, history like this that we must talk about and teach our children so we can prevent things like this from happening going into the future and going down the road for America. I welcome our guests today. You're the legacy that was left behind by these coolies. Thank you for coming. The Transcontinental Railroad, ladies and gentlemen, could not have been built, and you continue to help make America great. And that's all I have to say about that, Madam President.